So this is my process in growing potatoes. First of all, I bought seedling potatoes, seed potatoes. You really want to avoid the grocery store potatoes because they're sprayed with this retardant that prevents them from sprouting. So I bought organic, non-GMO seed potatoes, and I've got Yukon Gold and red potatoes is what I'm going to grow this year. So the first thing you do is you chit your potatoes, which means pre-sprouting them, pre-sprout your seed potatoes. So I've laid out my potatoes on the counter here for they've been here for a little over a week, but they had already started the sprouting process when I got them. So they've been laying here for about a week, and what you want to do is you want to let them you want the eyes to sprout out to where you get them about, 3/4 inch long or so. And then these are ready. So now I'm going to cut and cure the potatoes, and that's what I'm working on right now. And you just want to do this a few days prior to planting. What it does when you cut them and let them just effectively dry out, it helps to prevent them from rot and fungal diseases and issues when they're in the ground. So it just kind of helps make them more resistant. So I've cut these, and I'm going to let them sit for about 2 or 3 days. Today's Tuesday, and by Friday they should be all ready, and I'm going to be putting them in the ground right out there. Today is March 22nd, 2019. I am planting potatoes in the potager garden in our very first bed. We've been working on prepping the soil for this bed for over a year now because we're practicing no-till, so we've applied a few methods, and we finally got it ready where we can plant. I covered it really thickly with this hay mulch that a cattle farmer down the road, we kind of barter, and I get mulch hay from him. So I covered it really, really thick, and I've pulled back some to make these little rows all the way down the bed. And in the rows I've added some compost, black cow manure, mushroom compost all the way down, just to give me some more good soil on top of what I've been building. And then I come back and made another little trench and added my potatoes. So you should plant them about a foot apart. Mine are, I'm sure, a lot closer than that. But the key to remember is to put them where the eyes are facing up, and then cover them really good with some soil. And then when the foliage starts coming up, I'll come back and add some more soil on top of that. When the soil warms up really good and the last frost has come and gone, then I'm going to come back and add my green beans, and I'm going to plant them just right. There's a potato right directly behind this potato right here. I'm going to plant a row of bush beans, and that is my companion planting for this bed. I'm going to do green beans, potatoes, some rosemary, nasturtiums, marigolds, a few other things for companion plants so they can work together. The green beans help deter the Colorado potato beetle, and the potatoes deter the Mexican bean beetle, so they're going to work together. But this row back here that I haven't done yet is going to be for sweet potatoes and pole beans and a row of corn. I'm going to see how that works together. But anyway, today is potatoes in the ground. I'll come back when the soil warms up and add the bush beans. And then as it gets warmer, I'll be doing the sweet potatoes, the corn, and the pole beans. So we're harvesting our potatoes today. And when the foliage completely dies back on the potatoes, you know that they're ready. Jean's just pulling the hay back. We put hay really, really thick. And then we just kept adding hay over the foliage so that the potatoes would keep producing. So he's pulling the hay back, and we're digging the potatoes out.
Well, this soil's great.
Jean and Champ and I just finished digging potatoes. So we're in the garden shed, and this is where I am just spreading out my potatoes and gonna let them harden off for about a week in here, maybe a little bit longer than a week. You want to let them go through this process of hardening off before you store them, because this skin, we need to give this skin on these potatoes a chance to toughen up. Like if you just do it now, that's super easy to peel off, and we need to let the skin toughen up, and that's what hardening off is, because that opens up the door for all kinds of diseases and stuff. So we need to let them sit and harden off, let that skin get tough, and do not wash them. When you wash them, that just causes them to start rotting quicker. So potatoes, you don't have to wash until you're ready to eat. I know it's not pretty to look at with the dirt all over them, but you can kind of wipe them off if it bothers you that bad, but don't wash them. Don't get them wet, and don't wash them, because that just opens up the door for bacteria and for your potatoes to start rotting faster. So this is what we got to do first. We got to let them harden off for about a week. I'm going to let them sit in here. I'm going to put some newspaper over the top of them just because we don't want sunlight hitting them. Sunlight is what turns the potato green. So you want to keep them protected from the sun. So I'm going to cover them up really good with some newspaper and let them sit in this garden shed for about a week and get hard, and not wash them. And then I will store them in a cool, dark place. I haven't quite figured out where that's going to be yet. It's in our plans to build a root cellar, so that's coming one day. But for now, I don't really have anywhere to store them. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. I've had these potatoes hardening off for about a week now. So now I'm going to take them and put them in these crates that I have to store them. I'm going to have to store them in my house because I don't have a cool, dark room to store them in. The best temperature to store potatoes is like 50 degrees. It's right around 42 to 52 degrees. If it starts getting higher than 52 degrees, then they start sprouting quicker. And my house is not 52 degrees. It is usually about 70. So these potatoes are probably going to sprout quicker, but I don't really have that many. And we eat a lot of potatoes, so we're probably going to eat them pretty quick. So I'm going to try to find a dark room because you really don't want sunlight getting to potatoes. That causes greening, and that's when they start getting bitter, and if they're really green, then they're toxic. I'm examining every potato, and the ones that have, you know, like a flaw in them, or like that right there, they just kind of got damaged either from harvesting or whatever. They've got a little nick in them. Like that one, it's still good, it's just got a little nick in it. And like my little baby potatoes, and the reason they didn't all fully develop, I kind of planted late. I didn't plant the potatoes until March, so I was late getting them in the ground. But I'm separating them out. The ones that have the flaws in them, are just where the skin was damaged a little bit, those are going to be the ones that I use first. So the potatoes that I've put in these crates that I'm going to store, they're in really good condition. The skin on those are really good. so they'll store better and last longer. And I'm using these crates because it's really good, whatever you're storing the potatoes in, that there's some airflow. So these crates have airflow. Oxygen can get to the potatoes. And I'm just putting the newspaper down because I just don't want dirt getting all over my floors. That's about half full. That's about 3/4 full. In my little basket of potatoes to use first. So not too bad for just 2 rows of potatoes.